In this video, we're going to implement a recursive reverse print list function. And we developed this particular function in one of my previous videos. And if you haven't had a chance to watch that video, then I'd recommend watching it first and then come back and watch this video. And I'll put a link to that particular video in the description of this video. So I've already opened up the files that we'll be modifying today. So contactlist.h, contactlist.cpp, and contactlist.app.cpp. So the first thing that we need to do is add a function prototype for a reverse print list function. So we'll just add that right below our delete node prototype that we have here. So we said that it was a void returning function, and we'll just call it reverse print list for lack of a better name. And we also said whenever we developed this in my other video that we need to pass in a node pointer of the appropriate type. So in our case we need to pass in a contact pointer, so we'll have contact pointer here. And remember that this contact pointer initially is going to be, what we're going to pass in is our head pointer. Now if that makes you a little bit uncomfortable, it probably should. And the reason why is because now we're requiring our client, whoever's using this particular function, whoever's using our contact list class and wants to use this reverse print list function, to know about our head pointer. And really the client of our class shouldn't know anything about the head pointer. So we don't want to have that requirement incumbent upon the client of this class to know about that head pointer. So what we're going to do is introduce a new concept here where we're going to write a wrapper function, and the wrapper function is what's going to be publicly available to the clients of this class to make use of, where they don't have to know about the head pointer. And that wrapper function, whenever that's called, inside of it we'll just call our reverse print list function or whatever we happen to call it, and it will be the thing that actually does the real work. So let me change this code up just a little bit. So we're going to take this particular function prototype here and move it down to our private area. So it's only within this class that we should know about the head pointer. So we'll still have our contact pointer there where a function can pass in the head pointer, but we're not going to have that exposed to the clients. So we've moved that to the private area of our class, and what we'll do now is just write a wrapper function. And the wrapper function is just going to end up calling this function here. Actually, let me change the name of this. I'm going to change it to reverse print worker. And up here we'll have another void returning function, and we'll call it what we originally called that other one, reverse print list. And it's going to have an empty formal parameter list. So within this function here, we'll just simply call the reverse print worker function and pass in the head pointer. So let's go over and do the actual implementation of these two functions in our contactlist.cpp file. So go ahead and save contactlist.h, and let's go over to contactlist.cpp. Okay, so here in contactlist.cpp we'll go ahead and write our wrapper function. So it's a void returning function, belongs to our contact list class. So it's a member function of that, and we should be able to select it from here. So we have reverse print list. We don't pass anything into it, so void formal parameter list there. And in terms of the body, it's going to just be a one-line function call to our reverse print worker. And the reason why I called it worker is because it's the one that's going to be doing all the actual work for printing out our contact list in reverse order. So we'll call our reverse print worker function, capital P, reverse print worker, and we're going to pass into it our head pointer. So we can do that here because reverse print list is a member function that belongs to our contact list class, so it's able to access this particular head pointer. Now a client of our contact list class is not going to have access to that head pointer. So that's the whole idea behind writing this wrapper function. So now that we have that in place, we can go ahead and write our reverse print worker function. So it's also a void returning function, and it's part of our contact list class. So use the scope operator there, and we can select it. So you see here, whenever we have this auto completion set up here, the private functions or any private members are going to show up here in red. So that little red square is indicating that it's a private member of our contact list class. So go ahead and select that, and we'll know that we got to pass in a contact pointer for initially our head pointer. And you can call that whatever you like. I think that a good name would be cur for current pointer, since that'll be changing each time we do a recursive call. And in the body here, it's going to be pretty short. if you remember from whenever we developed this particular function, all we really need to do is write the recursive case, because the base case simply returns from the function. So we really don't need to do a test for the base case, because as soon as we exhaust all the recursive cases, or we don't qualify for the recursive case, we'll just get kicked out of this function and return. So what we'll do is do a test for the recursive case. So test to see if cur is not equal to null. So this is just testing to see if we have more nodes to process in our linked list. And if that's the case, then we'll call our reverse print worker function. So call reverse print worker. So this is our recursive call, and we'll pass in curs next. If we don't pass in curs next, we will not be driving that current pointer to the next node. So we need to be feeding in curs next here to our cur pointer. So that's what we're going to be doing there. And then the other thing that we do is the actual process, or the actual operation, once we're at each individual node. So in this case, we want to do a cout and just dereference our cur pointer. Since we've overloaded the insertion operator, that's perfectly okay to write that type of statement. And then we'll also do an indel just to put each one of our contacts on a separate line. Okay, so now that we have this, let's go ahead and save this particular file here and go over to contactlist.app.cpp. So right below the while loop, we'll test out our reverse print list function. So we'll have cl1, the member access operator, and then specify reverse print list. And go ahead and save that and build it. Make sure it builds okay. So it looks like everything's building okay, and now we'll actually run it and see how it works. So let's go ahead and type in some names. We'll type in John, and we'll put in Mary. Let's see, April, Bob, and Mark, and Q to quit. And we should see those printed out in reverse order. So we had Mary, Mark, John, Bob, and April. So it does look like it printed out that in reverse order. Now, the other thing that I wanted to draw your attention to is we said before with our reverse print worker function, what allowed this to be printed out in reverse is the order in which we perform these operations. So remember, this is a stack-based operation whenever we do recursion. So if we were to change the order of these operations around and have the processing operation first and then the recursive call second, we would then see that the list would be printed out in alphabetical order and not reverse alphabetical order. So let's go ahead and save that just to make sure that that does take place, and build this. Go ahead and build the project again and run it. We can type in some names, Mark, Bob, April, David, and Roger, and Q to quit. And we can see that they are printed out here in alphabetical order: April, Bob, David, Mark, and Roger. Just remember that the insert function is actually what's inserting those names in alphabetical order into our linked list. So that pretty much covers everything that I wanted to discuss in this video. The big idea that was really new in this video was this idea of a wrapper function. So here, whenever we implemented contactlist.cpp and contactlist.h, we had this wrapper function here so that the client of our class doesn't have to know anything about our head pointer. All of that is abstracted away from the client of the class. So we wrote this worker function and just simply used the wrapper function to pass in the head pointer to the worker function. So that's it for this video.